Let us speak plainly. A permanent member of the United Nations Security Council invaded its neighbor, attempted to erase a sovereign state from the map. Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter.
All right, that was President Biden responding to Putin's threat to go nuclear. Here to respond is Tennessee Senator and member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Marsha Blackburn. Senator, let me ask you, what did you think of President Biden's address today at the Assembly? Was it enough, and do you think Putin really cared what he had to say?
I think Putin was listening very closely, as was China, Iran, and North Korea. And, you know, for the president to say this, we like to hear strong language. We like that he calls Russia out. But how about calling out the others that enable Russia to do this? People that are trading with Russia, that will not put sanctions on Russia. How about saying, Russia, we are going to put you over here in the timeout box, and we're going to leave you there until you get your act together. And no, you're not going to be able to negotiate a settlement and take part of Ukraine. We're not going to stand for that. So words are great. Actions are going to give some heft to those, and then holding those responsible who continue to prop up Russia would be a really good thing too.
So I want to pick up on that because I think you hit the nail on the head. The actions are what matter. And I think a lot of this goes back to Afghanistan, the way that we pulled out. And then I also think, to your point about our allies, you've got Modi of India and Xi of China, both kind of looking at us, nodding their head, and then meeting with Putin. They're clearly not afraid of the U.S. right now. They're openly embracing Putin and what he's doing. What do we need to do to show them that we're serious? Because right now, I don't think that they seem to think that the U.S. is something to be feared.
And that is part of the problem. People do not fear Joe Biden in this White House. It's the same thing that happened under the Barack Obama administration. They would draw a line in the sand and then they would walk all over it and erase the line. That happened repeatedly. Our allies need to know they are our ally. Our enemies need to fear us. President Donald Trump was so good at staying steadfast when he said, this is what we're going to do. People knew he meant that. And they may not agree with him. They may not have liked him. But they knew that if he told you this is what the policy was, that was the policy.
Exactly. Oh, and they feared him. I think they thought he was unpredictable, and they feared him. I do want to pivot a little because, as I said at the outset of the show, a lot went down today. And one of the things that got overlooked through all the other news was the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates another 0.75 points, meaning that if you have a credit card or a variable loan, your rate's going up again. But there's two things at play here. Rates continue to go up, but then the Fed, in its attempt to bring inflation low, is really got to affect the job market, and they're really squeezing employment. How concerned are you about this strategy that the Fed is embracing, both in terms of raising rates and what it's going to do to the job market?
I'm very concerned. When I talk to Tennesseans, Sean, here's the deal, and I had a mom say this to me a couple of weeks ago. You can't fill up the gas tank and the grocery cart in the same week. The money is just not there for that. So they're having to buy less expensive food to eat. They're putting off repairs. They're putting off buying clothes. They have decided that kids are not going to be able to do soccer or football or go to a travel team because they just don't have the money. And the impact on families is noticeable. Also, I visit with all 95 counties in Tennessee every year. And as I have talked to directors of schools and mayors and sheriffs and families and business owners, the impact on the county budget when it comes to how much it is going to cost to run those school buses, what it's going to cost to keep those police cars and law enforcement sheriff's cars in the road, first responders, heating and cooling businesses. Everybody that I talked to had to go back and revisit their budget when it came to their gas and their energy line items in their budget. So this is costing everybody. And of course, we know if the county has to spend more to run the county, what are they going to do? They're going to up the property taxes. They're going to up the wheel tax. Those are their sources of revenue.
Yeah, and all these places have debt, and that interest on the debt is just going to get more and more expensive as the rates go. Senator Blackburn, right. Thank you for being here today.
Good to be here with you. Thank you.
You bet. All right, still ahead, another day, another lawsuit against President Trump. Is this just more proof it's all a witch hunt ahead of the 2024 election or the midterms? Sebastian Gorka and Dick Morris are on deck to give us their insight.